After what seemed like an eternity, the Jacksonville Jaguars finally made their pick after 2 trade downs in the first round. I'll tell you all about it on this postcast, special edition of Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for joining me, Tony Wiggins, here on a special edition of Locked On Jaguars, a post-draft postcast. I'm live from TIAA Bank Field with the Jacksonville Jaguars have made their first selection. We'll get into that in just a second. We are greatly appreciative of you joining us here tonight on Locked On Jaguars and making us your first listen because it's your team every day. Also reminding you that we're free on our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe for free on the YouTube page and hit that like button, as well as wherever you get your podcast every single day. Make sure you go and check so you do not miss an episode of Locked On Jaguars. Listen, man, it took a while. 2 trade backs, and the Jaguars were able to get a 4th, 5th, and a 6th round pick. GM Trent Baalke says they'll probably use those picks. When asked whether they'll use those picks to move back up as currency to move back up to some of the sweet spots and address some of their other needs, he definitely said that that was a possibility. But the pick in the first round was one of the Magnificent Seven that I spoke about early this week on the podcast. It was Anton Smith, a tackle from Oklahoma. They really like him. They mentioned playing the dangerous game, moving back, and they had some more opportunities to move back. A lot of the guys that they really, really liked on the board were still there. That's why they took the opportunity to move back, and they would have been comfortable taking any one of the 3. If you recall, they focused on 137 players coming into the draft, and then when they got to their pick, they said they were confident that one of them would be there. As it turns out, I think everybody that they were comfortable with was there. I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars got their choice, and they got their man. Was this made an urgent necessity because of the impending suspension of Cam Robinson? I think it played a factor. I think it definitely played a factor. Trent Baalke didn't deny that it actually played everything. He said everything was at play when you're trying to get the talent. But I do believe they absolutely love his talent. One small concern for me is that are they in a position to just be replacing players with cheaper versions, although maybe just as talented or more talented once he gets developed a little bit and the team gets their hands on him. Maybe he's better than Juwan Taylor. Maybe he has more upside. I just didn't think coming into this offseason that they would be using their first-round pick to replace someone who's a really good player that left. I thought that they would be adding to it. If you follow me, if you're one of our everydayers, you know I always talk about and use the analogy of building a house. This feels like they tore some of the frame down to redo the slab again, the foundation. So, but the bottom line is, did the Jaguars improve tonight as a football team? They absolutely did, without a question. Anton Harrison can play. Comes from a big program. I really love the fact that they threw the ball a lot, and he's very, very athletic. Both Doug Peterson as well as Trent Baalke, I think it was Doug Peterson that said he can play both the right and the left side and even maybe play guard. But they are going to start him out with Coach Rauscher playing the tackle position. And there was a lot that they liked about his tape, about his athleticism. And then, you ready? The word culture came up. And culture is a fine word as long as it comes from the mouth of somebody everybody likes. If you're talking about culture and you can't play, then folks are going to run you out of here. And just ask Nick Foles that. But that word was brought up again. He fit the locker room. He fit the culture. And he had a lot of starts. He's adept at being able to pass protect, which it falls right in line with what I said. You got to protect Trevor Lawrence. So a position that was a strength coming into the offseason and then got weaker and then got even weaker once there was the impending suspension of Cam Robinson. Well, it just got stronger again in the eyes of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's going to be here. They have a 5th-year option on him. Obviously, that they have the option to do that. And I don't think you got to worry about him leaving. And that is something that is super, super critical to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bottom line is they got better. The other bottom line is, now there was a rumor going around the press room that the Jaguars were about to take Felix Uzoma. And guys saw me, that was one of my Magnificent Seven as well. I was on the Locked On NFL draft special with the draft dudes, and I prematurely said that that's what they were going to take because in the press room, everyone had been right for the last 6 or 7 picks. Everyone had gotten information or had sources, and somebody told her that it was Felix, the kid out of Kansas State, and everybody ran with it, and didn't happen. They took one of the Magnificent Seven, somebody I did a podcast on just 2 days ago. He was on the thumbnail, Anton Harrison. I think the Jaguars did something good, especially getting a 4th, 5th, and 6th round pick to just go back 4 spots and get their guy. That is what they call it, a Baalke masterclass in getting compensation, getting guys in a draft that, while it doesn't have a whole bunch of superstars, it is deep at certain positions. One of those positions is corner. It's a very deep draft at corner. It's a very deep draft at slot. A lot of the edge rushers did not go. In fact, Nolan Smith just went 2 picks after the Jaguars. So a big run on wide receivers early, a big run on quarterbacks, and then you started to see the offensive linemen started to go. And it's almost as if the Jaguars probably, what they ended up probably doing is they probably got, and we discussed this, there's a bunch of guys that went ahead of them that they weren't going to pick. They weren't picking a quarterback. They probably weren't picking a running back. So that's 5 people right there, right? And then some of these other positions, the wide receivers, I think there were 3 or 4. It's like the Jaguars were probably not taking those positions anyway. So what happened was, and it's a good thing, a beautiful thing that happened, is they probably on their own board got the 17th, 16th or 17th guy that they wanted. So they were very fortunate with the way the board moved early, and extremely, they looked extremely happy when they came. Well, Doug don't never really look happy. Doug wants to coach. So they're extremely happy with what they did. I'll tell you in a second exactly what that means moving forward for the team and how I think some of this stuff shapes out, and I'll do it in just a second. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. You've heard me in the past talk about Ultimate Football GM and my experiences with Ultimate Football GM. It is outstanding. It is a super game. And for all of the guys that think that they can be a GM and do what Trent Baalke pulled off tonight, well, good luck, because it is not as easy as it seems to be. It's never easy when you're the one that has to do it. But Ultimate Football GM allows you to hire the right coaches and coordinators, manage all the finances, including negotiating player salaries and terms, navigating your franchise through free agency, the draft, injuries, player personnel issues, even investing in training and investing in scouting. You can do all of that with Ultimate Football GM. Locked On Jaguars listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when you use the promo code Locked On, all caps, in the game store. That's Locked On in all caps. So make sure you check it out today. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up on the app stores. That's ultimate-gm.com, Ultimate Football GM. Start your dynasty today. Gotta let y'all know about Built, man. Y'all know how I feel and how much I love me some Built bars and some Built puffs. That's right. It is the absolute truth. One reason is because I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, but I don't want to sacrifice having stuff that tastes good. And then I don't want to eat a protein bar that puts all that chalky stuff all over your fingers and has you around here looking like a big 8-year-old. What Built does, man, is they pack all of this protein in a bar that tastes like a candy bar, but it only has 130 calories, 17 great grams of protein, and only 4 grams of sugar. Being a diabetic, I have to watch that stuff. I've been telling you to go to built.com and get them, and you can still do that. But now you can also go to your local Walmart or Sam's Club while you can still get your specialty flavors at built.com. Go to Walmart, go to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built bars in a 4 bar box. Or if you're like me, you like more bang for your buck, I guess that's what they call it. Go to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13 bar box with our hit flavors brownie batter puff and churro puff. You can thank me later. Make sure that you go to Built Bar and find them at Walmart or Sam's, and still check out built.com for all the great flavors, because they'll pop one up on you now. All the great flavors at built.com. It's Built Bar. Make sure you check that out. All right, man, running through it here on Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Listen, I just said listen 2 times in a row. It's late. I'm tired, but I'll never complain about giving you this content, because it's your team every day. And without you and the everydayers and even our new listeners, hello, how are you? Make sure you tap in every day, leave your comments. Let me know that you're an everydayer. All right, they passed out some literature about Mr. Anton Harris, and 3 years of body of work at Oklahoma, playing at a very high level. 24 starts over that 3 years. 23 of those starts out of 26 games came in the last 2 years. Very, very active. He was named to all Big 12 first team by the league's coaches and AP, started all 12 regular season games on the offensive line, started season opener versus UTEP at right tackle, and the remaining 11 games at left tackle. He opted out of the Cheez-It Bowl versus Florida. Like I said, he played in 34 career games and made 24 starts, 23 at left tackle and 1 at right tackle in 3 seasons. 6'4", 315, not tall. I think he has long arms, but he's not as tall as some of the tackles that you've seen in the past. But remember, Doug Peterson has experience with guys who aren't as tall. Jason Peters was 6'3", 6'3" and some change. So this is really, really good size for a young player. He's from Washington, D.C., the DMV. I'm sure me and him will have that conversation. He went to Archbishop Carroll High School and ended up in Oklahoma. But very good player, has a lot of potential, has a really, really good upside. And this is a real nice spot for him. Everybody thought that Darnell Wright might be the guy that was at this spot and that Harrison would go a little earlier. Not the case. Anton Harrison went and fell to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It sounds to me as if he was their guy that they realistically thought that they would get. I'm not going to go as far to say I know he was the number one guy on their board, because they shouldn't ever tell us that, and they won't, and I won't assume that. But I do believe when Trent Baalke said that there were 3 guys, that he had the confidence that one of them was going to be there. I think multiple players that he had confidence were going. I think all 3 of them were there at 24, and he moved back, and then one of them might have got taken. Deonte Banks went with the Giants. So I think what ended up happening was he said, "All right, we still got a lot of guys we like," and he even mentioned this word risky. A little too risky to move back. We're going to go ahead. We're going to snatch him. He said that him and Doug looked at each other, nodded their head, and said, "Let's make the pick." There is nothing about this pick that I don't like, other than the fact that how they got here to the point where they needed him anyway. I'm confident enough to think that he might have been the pick had Juwan Taylor not left and had Cam Robinson not gone away, because of his ability to play guard and because of his talent and the future that he has, that if this team decides to move on from Cam a year from now. Something to remember about Walker Little, and I think I hit on this before. Everyone says that he can replace Cam at left tackle. He can replace Juwan at right tackle. Doug says he can play guard. It sounds like Walker Little is a swing player as opposed to being a starter, because he never got on the field when Ben Barch got hurt. He was only put on the field in necessity when Cam Robinson got hurt. Make no mistake about it. I believe from when they break training camp, once this kid gets his feet up under him, I think he'll be the best tackle on the roster. His profile says it. He's super, super athletic. And remember, we are all about protecting number 16. Keeping Trevor Lawrence upright is the priority. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars went a long ways towards doing that today. Now, the draft isn't over. There are a lot of great players. We keep talking about Juwan Taylor. He was a second-round pick. There are a lot. Tyson Campbell, second-round pick. So make sure you stay tuned to our comprehensive draft coverage here on Locked On NFL. all over Locked On NFL tomorrow. It'll be out there for you. Locked On NFL Draft Dudes, Locked On NFL Scouting. They will have it all weekend. Guys will be popping in and out with information and insight. The picks will go faster tomorrow, so it'll be hard hitting. It'll be really, really quick. Don't be surprised if the Jaguars make a move and either come up or get back into the second or the third round and get 3 guys instead of the 2 that they're already scheduled to get right now. You can catch me tomorrow on Locked On Jaguars. I will do the show as soon as I get a little bit of shut-eye and let all of this stuff process. I see the comments. I don't have time to go through them now, but I will read them, and I will touch on some of that tomorrow after we have a chance to, really let this pick soak in. And then I'll also give the feeling. I'll check the temperature of the Jaguar fans and let you know exactly how they feel about it. Remember, it's not about winning tonight. It's about winning in the future. And you can never, ever go wrong. As I said about another team earlier, GMs and coaches, they love drafting big guys in the trenches. And the Jaguars got a talented big man in the trenches tonight. So, Tony Wiggins, this is Locked On Jaguars. We will make sure you see you tomorrow and make us your first listen. Take care of each other. Have a good evening. Anton Harrison is a Jacksonville Jaguar.